this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and today we're going to talk about Blackout in Crater Valley by Zog. Alright, before we get into the thick of it, if you find this video interesting, entertaining, or otherwise useful, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. It will push it to more people in the algorithms. Additionally, if you want to support Breaker Press further, you can check out my content on DriveThruRPG, on itch.io, at the Goodman Game Store, Exalted Funeral, or through the Breaker Press web store. All of those links are down in the doobly-doo. The best way that you can support Breaker Press Games is by becoming a member on Patreon. If you become a member on Patreon at $6 and above, you get access to, or you get sent to your mailbox, cool things like this class guide or this character creation guide. Something gets sent out every month. Usually it is going to be in the form of a pamphlet or one of these little guides. And they all expand on my grimdark survival horror setting of Stennard for Dungeon Crawl Classics. All right, sales pitch aside, let's talk about Blackout in Crater Valley by Zog. So, this adventure is a modern era DCC adventure. Now, part of what I love about DCC is the fact that you can adapt it to any type of setting, in my opinion, to any type of setting or genre. Particularly because the core mechanic, the dice chain, and the funnel concept are perfect for any type of setting that you want to do where there's just average folks. So if you want to do average folks in space, you want to do average folks in the 1920s, or you want to do average folks in the modern era, and of course fantasy, the classic, all of those are no problem. The rule set is designed for being able to do that sort of thing. That was distracting. All right, so let's talk about, in this case, last night I ran Blackout in Crater Valley. Now, it should be noted that this adventure is 34 pages, and out of this 34 pages, I probably used 7. Now, I want to mention that Blackout in Crater Valley, obviously it's got a Stranger Things or Sleepaway Camp or something like that type of vibe based upon the cover art. But it should be noted that it is a VHS-era slasher RPG. Now, this particular adventure centers around a group of teenagers that are all tied together by a friend named Julie. And at the start of the adventure, you're in the center of town, there's a blackout, and you're all wondering, where's Julie? She's supposed to be with you. Now, all of that aside, I will note that out of this 34 pages of this adventure, I used about 7. I normally, on Wednesday nights, run my RPG sessions for 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on when everybody shows up, because I run it from 6 to 9, and in this particular instance, not everybody showed up until 6:30. We quickly rolled up characters. We rolled up a bunch of 0-level characters. Now, 3 out of the 7 pages that I used of this were actually the rules for rolling up the 0-level characters. And we had a punk, we had a metalhead, we had a poetry enthusiast, we had an aerobics enthusiast, we had a Jesus freak, we had a young Republican, we had a whole host, a dog walker, a whole host of interesting characters. And my players had an absolute riot rolling up their characters and figuring out who everybody was. You go through, you roll up your character, and then you're all thrown into the town square, and then things start to happen. Now, because of the fact that I was staying to a tight timeline, and this was going to be a one-shot, I basically had the player start off in the center of town. There was the inciting incident. There was a bunch of stray dogs that ran up and attacked the party, killed a number of them right off the bat, and then the party scattered in 2 different directions. Now, one of the things that is beautiful for somebody who likes to run things off the cuff like myself is that this adventure comes with this wonderful town map. Now, it just so happens that in the center of town is the square. My players immediately fixated on the fact that there was a grocery store. And half of the party, as part of the party was being mauled by stray dogs. Half of the party ran towards the grocery store, and half of the party ran towards Julie's house. While, as I said, a number of people in the town square got mauled by dogs. The dog walker became the hero of the town square by managing to calm down a bunch of the dogs with dog treats and their dog whistle. But the situation that I ran into is this adventure has a whole arc that takes place over the course of a number of different locations, and the grocery store wasn't one of them, and I also only had 2.5 hours in order to get through this adventure. So I ended up taking the bestial priest or beast priest from one of the other encounters and put them in at the back of the grocery store. And I ended up having the mask, which was the boss monster, be in Julie's house. It worked perfectly. In fact, my players had an absolute riot, running around town, smashing stuff, breaking windows, and stealing from the grocery store. All of these different things. The young Republican climbing up the trellis to get into Julie's bedroom window and falling and being impaled by part of the trellis. It was all a thing of absolute beauty. Somebody stole Aquanet and a lighter from the grocery store, used it as a flamethrower. All the things that you would hope to experience in a completely chaotic DCC session involving teenagers in the 80s. So, all of that being said, one of the wonderful things about how I was able to utilize this funnel adventure is the fact that I only got to use a small portion of it, and my players, when it was done, even though it was a one-shot, they universally all said that they would love to go back to Crater Valley again. And so I think this is a testimony to DCC being used in a modern setting. It is a testimony to the joy of playing teenagers in the 80s, and it is a testimony to Zog being able to create a compelling small town that I could adapt very quickly on the fly. Now, that being said, if somebody wanted to utilize this to run a campaign, once again, you've got this full map that you could expand upon that gives you a ton of town to work with. There is a whole bunch of NPCs in different locations, like the high school or whatever, that have details, the museum, that are detailed out. But if you wanted to take something like this even further and you wanted to have your players level up, I highly recommend picking up something like Ghost-like Crime by Kane Cathane. This is available through the Goodman Games web store, in addition to Blackout in Crater Valley. This is a role-playing game zine of modern weirdness. Inside you'll find paranormal perils, cryptid terrors, new classes, and more. And so this is something that if you wanted to level the PCs up, you can use the core classes from DCC, particularly the warrior, the cleric, and the thief. And you can add in with this the scrapper and the paratechnologist. So, if you wanted to do something like that, you absolutely could. Now, that being said, there are a number of other modern era RPG adaptions of Dungeon Crawl Classics. One of the ones that I'm really looking forward to getting to the table at some point is Ninja City by Joey Royale. This is Ninja City and an adventure called Drug Demon Disco that are available through the Goodman Game Store, as well as through Joey Royale's Get Haunted Industries Etsy. But additionally, I need to check out Nowhere City Nights by Julian Bernick. That is another thing that is on my list to purchase, and hopefully I'll end up picking that up at Gamehole Con. But I hope this little overview of the experience that I had running Blackout in Crater Valley. I wouldn't call this a full review because I didn't go through it page by page, but as I said, I had a fantastic time running it, and I think it is a wonderful thing for you to bring to your table, especially to celebrate the Halloween season with a one-shot slasher adventure for your players. So this was something a little different than the normal videos that I do. Hopefully you found it interesting and entertaining, more so than me just propping up my own stuff. Support indie games and indie game designers like Kane Cathane, Joy Royale, and of course the mighty Zog, because all of these people are people that are pouring their hearts and souls into the content that they create. This may be the only time that you see the dead Kennedys behind me. We'll go back to my fantasy backgrounds in the future. Yeah, hopefully this was an interesting video for you. Thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. This is Nick from Breaker Press Games, signing off.